Well, receiving word from Indonesia that 8 of 9 scheduled executions have been carried out. Now, that's according to Reuters, who is citing local media. Most of them were foreign nationals from Australia, Nigeria and Brazil. Now, let's go to our Lynda Kinkade. She's sitting here with me on the set. You're Australian. The plight of the two Australians in this lineup has absolutely galvanized that nation. How do you think the Australians are going to be reacting right now to this news that they have died?
There has been such a huge outpouring of grief and emotion the last few days in the lead up to this, even before this has happened. And I think there's going to be a lot of anger. There is already pleas and calls to cut foreign aid to Indonesia because of this, because they were continuing to push through with this. Human rights lawyer Jeffrey Robertson attended a vigil last night and basically said that he wants to take this to the United Nations Human Rights Council. He said this should not have happened.
Operatic theatre, or I mean, it was barbaric theatre. I mean, they're very strong words coming from the Australians. Julie Bishop coming out and saying that there will be consequences, and you say it could be financial.
Absolutely, it could be financial. They could remove aid from, they could take back aid from Indonesia. And Indonesia's been receiving aid from Australia for a very long time, large amounts of money. So that would be a significant move if the Australian government were to do that. Julie Bishop has said that these two were reformed prisoners. They should have been used as an example to show that the system, the justice system, is working. Yet those pleas fell on deaf ears.
So Andrew Chance, Myuran Sukumaran, tell us about them.
So the two went to school together, Homebush Bay High School. Now, it's a very good public school in Sydney. The two were 4 years apart in school. Andrew Chance and Myuran Sukumaran were the ringleaders of the Bali Nine. Now, this is the group of Australians that were arrested in 2005. And these two, Sukumaran was a guy that worked in the mailroom of an investment bank and basically wanted a better life, and so he was lured by this idea of fast cars and easy money, and decided to sign up to this so-called Bali holiday to bring back heroin.
And they were caught on their way back to Australia.
That's right. And if you will remember, at the time, one of the youngest of this group was a 19-year-old, Scott Rush. His father had a friend in the Australian Federal Police, and his father tipped off the police and said, I think my son is going to smuggle drugs back from Indonesia. Now, the Australian Federal Police said, we will stop him at the gate. That never happened. They got to Indonesia. The Indonesian authorities then kept a watch on that group for several days, while the group went to the beach and prepared for this trip home. It wasn't until they were about to come home, the Indonesian authorities arrested them.
Nabbed with heroin.
Nabbed with heroin, about 8.3 kilograms, which at the time was worth about $3 million worth.
OK, let's talk about a lot more about this, and particularly reaction in Australia. But we're going to go now to Bangkok. Stay with us, Lynda. Saima, Mohsin, you've been covering this story for months now. The legal implications, the international condemnation, no doubt being felt on the news that they have been executed. But I think what is clear is, we haven't confirmed it yet, but it seems at least that one person was not executed, Mary Jane Velosa. Tell us what we know about that.
Yeah, Robyn, it's Reuters news agency that has reported that the execution has taken place. Of course, earlier the Attorney General of Indonesia had announced and told CNN that the executions will go ahead around midnight local time. That's 1 p.m. Eastern. Now, we understand those executions have taken place, but as you say, we were thinking and expecting 9 people to be facing the firing squad tonight. In fact, it has been 8, and that is because of a last-minute phone call, according to local media in Indonesia, reporting that a last-minute phone call has taken place between the Philippines President Aquino, and President Joko Widodo. Now, that is because earlier today, we've seen this unfolding throughout the day here on CNN. I've been reporting every hour about this. Now, Mary Jane Velosa is one of the 3 people facing the firing squad that had always professed her innocence. Earlier today, the recruiter, alleged recruiter, believed to have recruited her unbeknownst to her, planting drugs on her person, came forwards to the Philippines police. Now, because of that development, appeals were made once again. A cabinet meeting was held in Jakarta, and we understand phone calls came from Manila to Jakarta, imploring President Joko Widodo for a stay of execution. At that time in the afternoon, President Joko Widodo had said no, proceedings will go ahead as planned. But we understand there was yet again a last-minute phone call, president to president, a very direct conversation, according to local media reports. And that has apparently given Mary Jane Velosa some more time so that legal proceedings can carry on. And of course, Robyn, that is what they also asked for many others facing the firing squad tonight, facing execution, including Andrew Chance and Myuran Sukumaran. They had another judicial date set for the 12th of May. They were meant to review their conviction because their lawyers for many, many months have been saying that their original conviction was not sound because allegedly the judge had asked for a bribe to commute their death sentence to life in prison. Now, these allegations needed to be investigated. Their current lawyers, Indonesian and Australian, were asking the government and the Attorney General and all legal avenues possible to take a look at these allegations, investigate them and give them more time. And of course, this morning as well, an Australian government statement came out saying it would be a terrible outcome for these executions to take place and afterwards to find that their convictions weren't sound. No, I must point out, Robyn, no one was arguing that they weren't guilty. They were guilty of being the ringleaders of a smuggling ring trying to smuggle more than 8 kilograms of heroin. What they were saying is that perhaps the death penalty would not have been awarded to them. And perhaps as well, as Australia has repeatedly, the Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott and Foreign Minister Julie Bishop said that these are actually remarkable examples of reform. These two men have tried to turn their lives around in prison and should be held up as an example of people who make mistakes and want to change. Robyn?